Twilight Sparkle's Radical Sabbatical of Adventure by BleedingEquine, with 7 thumbs up, 1 thumb down, 2 comments, and 59 referrals. The tags for the story is Adventure. A story of Twilight Sparkle saving all of Equestria with a golden guitar. It was time for adventure! The ponies that star in the story are Twilight Sparkle and Spike. Amuse, with 1,616 words. The night was dark and ominous. After her time away with her sabbatical, things got out of hoof quickly. Twilight Sparkle unsheathed her glowing guitar of ultimate suffering. She knew today was the day to embark on her journey to become one with the universe and all that ever existed. Knowing what to do, standing before her was the door to the outside world. Spike is ready. Twilight Sparkle is ready. There is no stopping them now. Twilight Sparkle released the doorknob with simple magic. Out the door, and they were met with zombie zebras. They were hungry for pony flesh and were numerous. Twilight watched them hungrily stare at the two of them. Spike took a step forward before Twilight stopped him from utterly desecrating all of their corpses. Not now, Spike. The numbers are near endless. We must find Sakura and return her from whence she came. I know, Twilight, but we have a mission. We must defeat Celestia and her evil reign before it's too late. Twilight looked onward and saw Sakura cackling her evil laugh. She knew that the zombies would be no match for the two of them, although it was a good idea to stall them down with the zombie horde. Twilight unsheathed her guitar. It glistened with a powerful sheen. Spike slapped his claws together to generate electricity from each edge. They were ready to combat any monstrosity that came at them. Sakura waved her hoof. The army of zombie ponies ran shambling at their direction. Twilight took her guitar and strummed a single note. It released a vibration to the earth. A large earthquake shattered the very earth, and the zombie ponies fell into their dooms. Sakura frowned heavily at how many of her zombies had been turned to fleshy mulch. Fine, I'll just have to do this myself. Confounded zebras are so useless, said Sakura angrily. She released a power wave of energy and released her true form. The powerful explosion violently shook Twilight's mane and almost tripped over Spike. Out of the everfree forest she hid in, a light blinded them both. Twilight covered her eyes before the energy released itself. Sakura now had a longer face, slender body with the horns and wings of an alicorn. She smiled at the raw power that surged from within. Now empowered with more magic that can possibly be conceived, a blast of intense, earth-shaking energy blasted towards Twilight and her assistant. Twilight smiled and played a solo from her guitar, in which stopped time. Before you knew it, Twilight teleported and slammed Sakura with her instrument, making her sail to another dimension from sheer force. The hit is so powerful that it nearly evaporated Sakura to the dimension she was sent to. Time resumed, and Spike released himself. He became a full-blown dragon. Large spikes and ravenous teeth, a sharp jawline, and terrifying features. They flew with Twilight sitting on top of his large head to Canterlot Castle. A single second of light speed flying. Twilight and Spike arrived at Canterlot to see it aflame and its buildings destroyed in unholy fire. Twilight used her supernatural senses and searched for the tyrant herself. Looking around her, she finally sensed where the fallen goddess had gone to. Spike! She's going to destroy the whole planet! Is she mad? There's only one thing left to do, Twilight. We must stop her at all costs, said Spike in a deep tone. I know this isn't easy for you, but this is the only option we have. All the lives that have been lost, and Princess Luna sacrificing... I know, Spike. I know. Let's go. With those words, Spike flew towards the sky at light speed. He went past Equestria's ozone layer and made it into space. Awaiting them there were changelings inside large spaceships. They fired upon Twilight and Spike with their city-destroying lasers that were deflected by her as she quickly transformed to have rainbow power coursing through her very self. The entirety of every ship fired everything they had. It was enough to completely burn half the planet to a crisp. Twilight reared her horn, and a glowing ring reflected the massive beams back at their originators, killing billions of changelings that were in the massive starships. They continued flying over space, the destroyed remnants of all the ships that formed to rubbish and burning metal, the cold, empty air of space nipping both of their skin. They arrived near the sun, where they could see Princess Celestia hot red and charging her magic with power. She looked back at the two zipping quickly to her location and fired a barrage of sunspots from the sun. Easily going through the devastating and large sunspots the size of whole continents, Twilight finally arrived at Princess Celestia, her golden guitar on fire. Twilight slammed the instrument right on her horn. Not so fast. Twilight opened her eyes and found herself in an empty white area, some kind of dimension that she didn't recognize. There, Princess Celestia emerged instantaneously. Monster! You've killed so many just for fun. Well, if you've been alive for how long I've been, you see how small things really are, said Princess Celestia, with blood seeping out of her slightly cracked horn. I'll destroy you! Twilight grasped her golden guitar and attempted to hit Princess Celestia, but disappeared from view. Welcome to the center of the sun, old disciple. This will be the last time we ever meet again, along with this dreadful Equestria, said Princess Celestia, as her voice resounded like an echo. No! Twilight heard the music in her mind. It felt soft and pleasurable as she cried helpless. Unable to teleport out of the powerful gravitational pull of the inner sun, she knew that soon there would be no hope for her if rainbow form ran out. Then, as her tears dropped down, she noticed her guitar floating and gaining energy. She now knew what the golden guitar truly meant. Twilight strummed the guitar strings with as much power as she had. Power started pushing against the gravitational pull from the center of the sun. Meanwhile, Princess Celestia was outside the sun, currently toying with Spike. With his Milky Way fire breath, he tried his best to incinerate Celestia with the power of the whole galaxy, but it just wasn't enough. Darn you, Celestia! How could you do this? Said Spike, being choked against Celestia's hoof. I will remake this world and rebuild it as I wish. No more boring ponies. No more! Celestia looked back after sensing the sun was acting up. The sun suddenly exploded, radiation and sun energy releasing into the atmosphere in galactic droves. She released Spike from her hold, standing guffawed at what she witnessed. Emerging from the sun was Twilight Sparkle, her mane completely white and her body shimmering with light. What? What have you done? Twilight raised her right arm and sucked Spike towards him. Princess Celestia felt her power ebb out before feeling her horn and wings slowly decay into pieces. She screamed as she couldn't breathe. Her body scrunched into a pony form. Twilight would only watch as the helpless Celestia decayed from young to old age in seconds before crumbling to blackened old flesh. Twilight felt her power recede into herself with the remaining rainbow power. She lost consciousness with all of that gone. Twilight! Twilight! Sudden eyes opened to the dream around her. Twilight looked to find Princess Luna sitting in a chair with 2 long lamps sitting by her side. Her iris was completely black, and she sat comfortably upon the seat like it was a bed. I knew you could do it, Twilight. I'm here to finally tell you the truth. Twilight sat in the boundless familiar white as she did in the sun's core, waiting for whatever Luna wanted to tell her. I've staged this whole thing all along, to get you to destroy Celestia once and for all. You see, I planted the curse of hatred into her mind and made her become like this. And to top it off, I even gave you the golden guitar that could stop her once and for all. Chuckle! Twilight Sparkle couldn't believe her ears, nor could she talk or express anything in this dream. Trying to squint a fit of rage, Twilight stood helpless in the sea of white. All to finally destroy ponykind and completely destroy everything. That's something even Discord wouldn't be able to do, wouldn't you say? Princess Luna smiled gleefully. Even my own death was a bliss. Well, ta-ta for now, Twilight Sparkle. It's been nice manipulating you. As the dream became darker and darker, the loud laughter of Princess Luna resounded before Twilight awoke on a sidewalk. She stood up and looked around herself, and saw that it was the destroyed remains of Ponyville. Twilight, you're all right. I thought you were dead. I'm so glad. Shaking her head, she massaged her temple from the stress of information she was given. All this devastation, just to get back at Celestia? Well, what do we do now, Twilight? Said Spike worryingly. Twilight surveyed the destruction around her, the collapsed buildings and burnt bodies of ponies, and looked toward Spike. We rebuild.